Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It's Claudia Monacelli here with another episode of my podcast, Multiple Voices. And every time I have a guest, even if they may touch on certain subjects that are similar, there's always a personal perspective or some type of their work that is unique. And this is the case with Carolina Ayala. Carolina, please say hello to your audience.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a
Yes,
pleasure
a
to be
pleasure.
here.
She's talking to us from Miramar, Florida, where she tells me they have only had heavy rain. You didn't have any power outages in this
No,
time?
no, no. It
Okay.
was all good with the blessings of God. Yes.
Good, good. We're recording this today, which is the 3rd of October. So, those of you who have had this experience know that there was a hurricane, winds, power outages. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Who is Carolina? Who is Carolina? We're going to find out in this interview, but let me present her just a moment. So, I have my glasses on. I can see and I'm reading. Right, she's a holistic life coach and she's a certified pranic healer. And I mentioned when we spoke before starting to record that pranic healing is very, very not common, but widely used over the centuries in Italy, but hands on. It's hands on. And she'll talk about that. She helps literally people to improve their lives through the knowledge of energy. And we're going to start with that. She helps them by overcoming high self standards and overthinking the transforming negative self criticism into a positive mindset that allows people to manifest their dreams. Now, she works with individuals who want to make a bigger difference in their lives by using energy principles to support the right words and actions to fuel real change. And it's important to highlight that the right words. But I would add the right thoughts because
Yes.
thoughts are energy. Anyway, in the description of the episode and the interview, I will tell you how to contact her, her social links, and her website. Carolina, thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us, first of all.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, everybody who is listening. Thank you, thank you.
Oh, I love how you say my name the right way, Claudia. The Americans always say Claudia, and of course, my father called me Claudia. All right, now, first thing, I'd like to address the energy, life in general, from
Mhm.
the energy point of view. How about that? Can we talk about energy? What is energy for you?
Totally. Energy is everything. If we
No,
understand
whoa, 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 that's too ambiguous. Go on.
that, no, no, but that's the principle, right?
Uh
If
huh.
everything is energy,
Yes.
we can use that energy to improve our life. And in
Okay.
reality, everything is energy, right? So there are many principles that if we follow, right, we can have a easy life, more manifestation, more clarity into our life. It's the same way that if you're going to play a game in real life,
Yes.
you want to know what is the first thing that you ask for. What are the rules?
Right. The rules.
How can I play the game to win the
Right.
game?
Right.
Right? Same thing happen in life. But there are certain rules, energetically speaking, that are general rules that if we are able to follow, we will get better results
Are
in
you
life.
going to give us a clue
I
to those?
few of those, a few of those.
Okay.
Yes, so the first one is a really common one that is called the golden rule,
Oh,
right? You treat others the way that you want to be treated, right?
right.
So that being said, energetically speaking, what does that mean in your day-to-day activities? Right?
Okay.
If you want to be loved, you have to project a lot of love, right?
Is it in your practice, Carolina? Have you found that people know how to project love?
No, that's
Oh,
the that's one of the challenges,
that's
right?
that's
Because
my experience as well.
we need to start learning different ways to manifest what we want, right?
Right.
For example, many people come to me and say, I just want to be happy.
Mm.
Well, happiness is such a big, it's a general concept, right?
Yes.
So the second question is you have to have clarity about what happiness look for you,
You're right. What it looks like for you, what it means to you.
what it means to you, right?
Hmm.
Because different people have different concept of what is happiness. Once we find that, then you
Hmm.
can start working towards that, right?
Okay, so just summing up, you're telling me that uh, there's the golden rule: treat
Yeah.
others like you want to be treated, and loving is about knowing what you want and knowing what happiness is for you.
Yeah, well, everything in life is the meaning that you put on that, right? So, what is happiness for you? What love means to you? What success means to you,
Uh-huh.
right? So, we have is to be clear about what that those concepts look like for you to be able to look forward to those. Because otherwise, we are looking, but we don't know what we're looking for. You just say,
Okay.
"I want to be happy," but you never feel the happiness because you don't know how that looks like for you.
Right. Okay.
So, you have to have clarity.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important things in energy. You have to be
Okay.
clear. You have to have a target. You
Okay.
can say, I want to be rich.
Right.
Rich, what does that mean for you right now? How much money in the bank is that for you right now?
And also, richness and wealth doesn't
In
only
wealth.
mean money.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It means in loving relationships, in health,
Yeah, it's
right?
generally looked upon as abundance.
Yes, that's
Hmm.
abundant. Yes. But is that when you say, I want to be abundant, what does that mean?
Well,
Do you want
Carolina, it
yeah.
at this point it makes me wonder
Yeah.
to talk to you. What was it that got you into this business? We'll continue in talking about energy,
Yeah,
but I
totally.
want to
Yes.
know what brought you here.
Yeah, I used to work on an investment bank,
Yeah.
and I found myself with a lot of stress
Hmm.
and not being able to enjoy my life because
Hmm.
I was a workaholic. I
Hmm.
couldn't sleep. I was, in that fast-paced environment, right?
Okay.
I noticed that it was not for me, so I started looking for different ways to cope with the stress and to be.
Carolina, do you think the stress came because of that sector, or do you think the stress can come from other? It doesn't have to mean all investment banks
Yeah,
make you
no, 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 no,
stressful.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no, no. No.
okay.
The
It was
stress can.
you, but not
It
the
was.
bank. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Because the stress, the way that I understand it, it has different triggers for different people.
It has
At that
different. Sorry.
triggers.
Triggers. Okay, okay,
Yeah. So for me, at that moment, that environment create a lot of stress.
okay. So then what
So
happened?
different people will have different stress in life, right?
Hmm.
So then my body got sick.
Oh,
So
how sick? Do you mind me asking?
yeah, no, thyroid problems. They
Ah,
were
thyroid. Hmm.
sugar.
Yeah.
So small things that start building up,
Right.
right? So I decided that I have to do something about it, right? So I
Right.
need to look for a way to release that stress, so I get better. And I started looking, and I found pranic healing, and
Pranic
that
healing. Yes,
and
yes.
that changed my life. That's
But
an
wait,
energy
did
technique.
you find pranic healing because someone worked on you as a pranic healer?
Yes,
Okay.
somebody invited me to a meditation,
Yes.
and from there they did a energy healing on me,
In
and I feel
person.
in person. So I feel so light and so happy, like
Wait a
really.
minute? Can you explain what pranic healing is for those of our
Yes,
listeners who don't
yes.
know?
Pranic healing is an energy healing technique where we use life force to we remove congested energy and we apply new energy so you can feel the change, right?
Okay, that seems very similar to how
Mhm.
people would define Reiki
Yeah,
healing.
they are similar.
What are the difference?
Some
What's-
of the difference is that in Reiki, they will touch the person. right? In different points. In pranic healing, is an energy healing technique, non-touching technique. We don't touch. We work on the energy body.
Well, the same thing. Reiki is done at a distance.
Also, too,
Yeah,
also, but
yeah,
when they do it in person, they touch the person. In pranic
right.
healing, they don't touch the
So
person.
you, okay. Um, in Reiki, they work with chakras.
In pranic healing, we work with chakra. It's a chakra system.
Okay,
We work with 11 major chakras, and
11.
we
Can you tell
11.
me where they are?
Well, they are. We have 11 major chakras. You start crown, forehead, ajna, throat.
Where's one?
One. No, we don't count it like numbers. We just put names. That's one
All
of the
right, so
difference,
that's
right?
different.
It's a
That's
different.
much different.
It's a different thing. It's a different anatomy. Let's say it like that,
Okay,
right?
so go on. Tell us the chakras or those energy centers that you work
Yeah,
with.
so we have crown, forehead, ajna, throat, heart, solar plexus, navel, sex, basic, right? We have all these chakras. And if you want to know more, it's available the class where you learn about the anatomy.
You work. You teach that.
I don't teach it. I don't
Uh-huh.
teach it. Currently, I don't teach the class, but they are in any part of the world. If you look for pranic healing, you will get a class.
Okay,
It's a
good. Thank you. Good to
in-person
know.
class, and you will learn how to do, the anatomy of the chakras, the way that we understand in pranic
Yes.
healing, and how to do the healing with your hands.
Okay. So now let's get back to what we were talking about, energy. You mentioned that you have the golden rule, act with others as you would like to be treated. And then the other rule was clarity in your desires and what you want. Can you continue from that?
Number one. Then, for example, the other law that is really common is the law of karma, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
in giving that we receive,
Mm-hmm.
cause and effect, right? So
Yes.
it really tied with the golden rule, because if
Yes.
you are treating others the way that you want to be treated, so
Right.
it's cause and effect. But you can do that in so many ways in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and simple ways, right? Sometimes people, one of the most important exercises is the gratitude exercise, to
Uh-huh.
include in your daily routine,
Mm-hmm.
because that one will bring many of the rules together, right?
I
So
see.
just to be grateful about life when you wake
Right.
up,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because you're grateful, you will receive more. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So being grateful about the things that you have, the people around you, all the experiences in your life is really important, because sometimes we tend to focus on the challenges too much. We
Okay.
need to change the focus towards something more positive to be able to improve our life.
Um, can you give me here an example of a client that you treated, and how was it possible for you to shift their energy in this sense and their focus?
Yes, for example,
You
I
don't
have
have
a
to tell us the name, but mhm,
no, because that's private, right?
yeah,
That's
right.
confidential. I have a client who was on medical school
Yeah.
and decided this is not for me,
Sorry, decided?
and that
This
it is this is not for me
okay.
anymore after
Okay.
4 years of career, right?
Oh,
It burned up. It was
right.
difficult.
Right.
Any risk, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But the situation where the person came to me was, I feel shame because now I'm not, it was all the family was so happy. This
Yes.
person was going to be a doctor, and
Right.
now says, no, I'm not. And, it feels shame, it feels guilt, all these negative emotions. So it was depressed. So we work a lot into changing the focus. Okay. What
Okay.
did you learn about yourself
What
in
did
this situation?
you?
Learn about
Okay.
yourself in this situation, right? What are the positive aspects of this situation,
Well,
right? So we work
what did
into,
he learn? What was his response?
yeah, well, it took a process, right? Until you understand and you start applying the tools.
Hmm.
And then it decided, yes, I want to continue on the medical field, but not as a doctor.
Okay, so you have sort of a process, a step process that will
Yeah.
help him reach the
Yes.
understanding of what really he wants. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. And then once he got clarity, it was easy to say, okay, this is what I really want. This is the aspect of medicine that make me happy. So now he's towards more the investigation part, the
Right.
lab analysis and all that. And he's happy,
Yes.
family is happy. He was able to get better relationship with the
Right.
family and let go the guilt
Right.
and the shame because of his decision, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's a process, and in that process, he learned a lot of different energy tools to cope with that. To every time you have that negative thought, and say, "No, this is not me. This is what I really want," and bring
Okay.
a positive thought from towards your life.
Okay, so let's go back to those different steps.
Yeah, well, the steps. Normally, I talk about them in my book.
Uh-huh. Tell me the name of your book.
The book is called "It Is a Piece of Cake."
Mm,
Yes,
I like
because
that.
the way that in life we have, if you want to make a cake, you have a recipe.
Right.
In energy, we have a recipe, right?
Right.
So we have different steps. So the first step is to find clarity. What do you really want?
Okay, this It Is a Piece of Cake by
Yeah,
Carolina Ayala. Where can our listeners find that?
Amazon.
Okay. How many pages is it? How long is it?
Yeah, 39 pages,
Sorry?
40 pages, 40 pages.
Okay.
Really short. It's a
Okay.
short one.
So it's sort of a manual, a small
Yeah,
manual of
this is
very
my manual, step
practical.
by step.
Uh-huh.
So you have, I divided into 7 steps,
Yeah.
right? For you to understand the process, right?
Okay. All right.
And
So I'm going
so,
to let you stop there and
uh-huh.
send listeners and viewers to continue understanding by going to Amazon and buying your book. Then,
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very
so we
much.
we did talk about how to use energy to improve your life. That sort of was covered in what you said, but what I'd like to talk about that you mentioned to me is happiness,
Yes.
and why did you address happiness, and what do you help your clients do to attain happiness? And what is happiness for you, Carolina?
Yeah, well, the first thing that I always address with people
Yeah.
is the understanding that happiness comes from within.
Okay.
Meaning, if I am happy, all the things around me will bring me happiness. You
You
can
know,
remove
it's funny,
happiness outside
right?
and
I'm
put it in.
I'm listening to you, and I could remember very clearly when I was a mother. My children were so young, and I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking, okay, look, I'm not cooking today. I don't feel like eating. If I don't feel like eating, nobody will feel like eating. Let's do something else. And so at the time, my husband said to me, boy, that's a very egocentric way of thinking. And then I said to him, if I'm not happy, nobody's going to be happy.
Definitely,
That's the right,
definitely.
is that the gist
Yeah,
of it?
yeah, because your energy will emanate to the people around you. If you are
Right.
happy, they will be embraced with that happiness, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but happiness comes from within, in the sense that people normally says, "I will be happy when
When?
I get this, I do that, I go this place, I got this money, anything," right?
Yeah.
But in reality, you have to live in a state of happiness
Hmm.
all the time with everything in life. It's a blessing, it's a gift. So
This
feel like
this is
that.
quite difficult because
Mhm,
many of the questions that I receive on my when I go live and people
mhm.
come and they chat and they ask spirits who I channeled, one of the questions that emerges often in different ways is
Yeah,
how is it possible to be happy when you have illness, when your family is suffering? How can I maintain happiness? And of course, that's a long answer to that.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you give us a little clue to that? What
Yeah.
would you say to someone
Yeah.
who says
I
that?
have clients that they are having difficulties, let's say, with health,
Hmm.
like cancer or other illnesses. And the first thing to find happiness when you are suffering
Yeah.
is to see it. What is the positive aspect of this situation?
Yes. Give me
Yeah.
an
Because,
example.
for
Can you?
example,
Hmm.
I have a client that got this cancer, right?
Hmm.
And of course, it's a difficult situation. You have to
Of
go through
course.
the treatment.
Yeah, we
But
all know that.
yeah, but for example, if I teach this person to change the perception of the treatment. She was scared of the treatment.
Okay.
She was a negative about the doctors. So
Yes.
we start changing that. It's a blessing. You have access to medicine. You
Right.
have the best doctors. You
Hmm.
have the insurance that will pay everything
Yeah.
for you. Your
Yeah.
family is
Yeah.
supporting you.
Yeah.
So you have to see the positive aspects of this, right? To
Yes.
start balancing a little bit the energy and manifest goodness
All right.
around you.
Now,
Mhm.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say, what about those people, those clients who have cancer but do not have access to that medical treatment? If
Yeah.
it would be more difficult for them to find the positive aspects.
Yeah.
How
So
would you respond to that? I know it's a difficult question.
yeah, so well, in every difficult situation is a lesson, right?
Right.
So it has to be a lot of inner reflection,
Yeah.
right? So maybe look, people with cancer, they are really brave. They have
Yeah.
a lot of strength.
Yeah.
So start with that. I'm strong,
Yeah.
even though I'm dealing with this, I have the strength to say I want to live.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that's a positive thought form.
Uh-huh.
Just with
Right.
that, you start
Yes.
moving forward.
Because thoughts are energy.
And of course,
Well, you
whatever you
also
think
mentioned
is going to
you
manifest.
you also mentioned to me using the proper words,
Yes.
and because of course language is energy. Can you give
Mhm.
us an example of that?
Yeah. For example, people, let's keep with this example with cancer, right?
Okay.
When you ask somebody, "Hi, how are you?" "I'm good. I have cancer," or "I am a cancer survivor," right? That's
Okay.
the
Right.
answer, right? But everything that you say after "I am," you will become.
Yeah.
So if you already survived the cancer and you keep saying, "I am cancer survivor," right?
Mm-hmm.
You are becoming all the time, you are bringing that energy back to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You don't want that. So, for example, you can say, "I'm getting better and better. In the past,
Yeah.
I deal with cancer."
Okay.
But
Right. I've dealt with it. Yeah. Perfect.
you have to put it outside, not make it "I
Okay.
am,"
Okay.
right? Because
Okay.
you will bring that energy again into your system.
Okay, now I'm going to shift sort of the focus. We have a few more minutes, we have some time to conclude, but I wanted to talk because you mentioned to me
Mhm.
spiritual practicality, and that was interesting to me. I'm thinking, what does she mean by practicality, and why put those two, we're talking about words,
Yeah.
spiritual practicality together?
I put it together because many people, when you talk about spirituality,
Yes,
they think that it has to be long, it has to be a ritual, you have to wake up early in the morning to do all these
many
things, and you have
people do.
energy.
Many people
I
do
mean,
that.
people do, which is amazing. But
Yeah.
also, there is an understanding that it has to be practical. Because if you have something really, really good, but you never use it, it's not of good for you.
Right.
But spirituality is really good. So one way to use it is to make it part of your day-to-day activities.
Okay. I think I'm going to need more examples here.
So for example, you you have kids, you have work, you cannot wake up early in the morning to meditate. That's okay. You
Hmm.
meditate at lunchtime. You can meditate at nighttime.
Right.
You have to be flexible
Hmm.
about your spiritual practice.
Hmm.
Same with exercise. Exercise is really important physically, emotionally, mentally, and all levels, right?
And spiritually.
spiritually too.
Yeah.
So if you say, "Oh, I cannot do exercises because I have no time," then you can do small things during the day
Right.
that will give you that small things. For example, park farther, so you walk a little bit more, and then you're doing some extra exercises. Go on the stairs instead of the elevator. Small things, but you have to start changing
Your
and see
habits.
it practical.
Yeah.
In a
You know,
practical.
as you were talking, I was thinking because I teach movement online, I teach voice consciousness and breath work. What I find, and it's almost magical and it's in line with what you're saying, is that when people start these types of awareness raising or consciousness building
Yes,
exercises, they, even if their body and their voice in the mirror is exactly the same, their self-image is completely different. They feel
totally, totally,
10
totally.
centimeters taller. They have a clarity of voice that they didn't have before. The way their image is
Yes.
completely changed. And this is very practical.
Yes,
It is
because energy
spiritual.
is really practical. It's about repetition.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the gym. You go to the gym one day, you go back home, you look in the mirror, you see no change.
Hmm.
But after many months, right, you see the change in your body. Same way,
But that's
energetically, but it's
different. That
repetition.
is a real change. That's 2 inches
That's
here, 2 inches here. What I'm talking about is their image of themselves. And
But
that
that's the
is
energy
immediate.
change.
Yeah.
That's the energy change. Remember, energy change, we cannot touch it like this, but you
Right.
can feel it. You can see it in the person, in the way that they talk, that they
They
stand,
move,
that
their
they
attitude.
have attitude and how they behave. And you see this person say, "What happened to you? You changed. You are a different
Yeah.
person.
Are you in
Amazing."
love?
Are
Yeah.
you love?
She must be in
Yes,
love.
yes. I always say,
Yeah.
"I am love." That's
Yeah, I
why.
am love.
Yeah,
Brava, bravissima. That is it. We
that's
are,
it.
and you
So
are.
you have to embrace those qualities that you really
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
You have to embrace it, and that's what makes the different people say, "Why are you doing that? You're so beautiful, or you're so kind, you're so." Is that energy, and
Yeah.
that's the effect, right?
Yeah.
But it's repetition. You cannot do it once and say done.
Yeah.
It's day in, day out, every single day, and that's why I call it practical, because in life, the things that we want to learn, we do it every single day until we learn, right?
Yeah.
And then part of your life, you don't even need to think about it. You just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to finish. I want you to repeat the title of your book, please.
It is a piece of cake.
It is a piece of cake. And your website, I could say, is sociatap.com/Carolina Ayala. The Facebook is Carolina Ayala O with an O at the end. And LinkedIn is Carolina Ayala O. And no, LinkedIn is Carolina Ayala. And
Carolina.
Facebook is Carolina Ayala. Oh, and Instagram is Ayala, O with an end. Thank you so
Thank
much
you very much
for
for having
coming.
me.
Really, it was a pleasure, Carolina, to let us know that in somewhere in Florida, there are no outages and people are still, day to day, their things are still working.
You're good. Thank you.
All the best to you, Carolina. Bye bye.
Thank you. Arma namaste.